talking about what are the options for his legal team at this point, because there is no clarity on what they plan to do next after today's setback. But like I was mentioning, that he can approach the Supreme Court. That is only if the High Court gives him a go-ahead, and that can be done only in the next 14 days. If that option is spent, then Nirav Modi is free to approach the European Court of Human Rights. But it really seems like these options are more or less exhausting for him.
Well, if you just take a look at what happened in the case of Vijay Mallya, that route is still open for Nirav Modi. In fact, what we are picking up as of now is that there is a 14-day time period that is given to Nirav Modi, where he can basically make an appeal against the extradition order that has been passed by the High Court. Now, this is the written appeal that was made by Nirav Modi. He has to take the permission from the High Court in order to appeal before the Supreme Court. If you see what has happened in the case of Vijay Mallya, that was rejected. So, in all possibility, one is expecting that it would go through the same lines. If that option is not available, then of course the European court is also available before him. But remember, in the case of Vijay Mallya, what essentially happened is that he had also applied for political asylum. And that is something that the UK government does not really inform any of the agencies here in India, or for that matter the Indian government, whether at all they are considering the option of political asylum. Now that's something, I would say the dark area as far as the deals that happen in the United Kingdom. Whether at all he is going to apply for political asylum, or any approach that he is going to take of that sort, one will have to wait and watch. Because remember, the legal team of Nirav Modi happens to be the same legal team of Vijay Mallya, and he's pretty much borrowed a leaf from the playbook of Vijay Mallya. But remember, the case is a little different. As far as Nirav Modi's case is concerned, both the agencies, the Central Bureau of Investigation as well as the Enforcement Directorate, have been very successful in convincing the Westminster Court and thereafter the High Court that there is a criminal angle attached to Nirav Modi. The very fact that they have been able to produce evidence on the table before the courts in United Kingdom, the fact that witnesses were being threatened by Nirav Modi, and he was a flight risk, and that is exactly why, remember, no bail was granted by the UK court to Nirav Modi, unlike in the case of Sanjay Bhandari, or for that matter even in Vijay Mallya. That is the reason why, from the very day that he was arrested by the UK police, he has now been spending time behind bars. That is only because both the agencies have been able to convince that he is a flight risk. Secondly, the evidence that has been also produced by the investigative agencies through the Crown Prosecution Service is the fact that witnesses who were brought to Egypt by Nirav Modi were basically threatened, and they were basically asked to say that Nirav Modi was not responsible for any of it, because there were other directors in the company. In fact, it turns out that this was a well thought out plan. Just before one of the managers of the Punjab National Bank, who was a co-conspirator in this particular case, was about to retire, Nirav Modi was very well aware that this is going to be out in the open, and that is exactly why what he essentially did was brought in 6 villagers from Gujarat who were made dummy directors of various companies. So he wanted to shift the blame to the dummy directors in this particular case. That is something that has been busted by the investigative agencies, and that hasn't really gone in favor of Nirav Modi. That is exactly why I'm saying that this case is in stark difference with that of Vijay Mallya. Vijay Mallya has been clever to, he's cleverly approached the UK government in terms of a political asylum, and he knows that it's the prerogative of the government and they need not inform the Indian government, and that is exactly why the Indian investigative agencies do find themselves in a dark spot when it comes to Vijay Mallya. But as far as Nirav Modi is concerned, they're supremely confident that in months to come, there is a high possibility that he would be extradited to India. They've been able to convince the court that the jail conditions here in India is absolutely fine, and it meets the international standards, and all legal remedies would be available before Nirav Modi. And that is exactly why it does appear, at least if you simply go by the court orders that have been passed by the Westminster Court and now by the UK High Court, it does appear that the courts are also convinced that all legal remedies would be given to Nirav Modi, and that is the reason why they feel that the extradition is not an unjust demand that has been made by the Indian agencies.